The recording. So let me say, yep, we're recording now. Hey guys, I am really, really excited about that, about the fact that you're joining me here. And this is something that I've actually been working on for, really, it's been 15 years in the making. And it's here today. And in fact, you guys are part of really the grassroots level of what this is about in some ways. And I'll tell you more about that in just a moment. But first of all, want to say a big welcome, and then I'll start off by just telling you a little bit about myself. So my name's Darren, and some of your names and faces are familiar to me, others aren't. But I come originally from a teaching background, and then my master's and my PhD degrees were actually in human physiology, because for as long as I remember, I've always had this passionate interest in understanding how it is that humans work. And I talk with people when they say, "Oh, you're a human physiologist," and I go, "Yeah," and they have that blank, that sort of look in their eye, like that sounds so boring. And I always go, "It's not boring. It's like really exciting, because essentially it's about how we're designed to work. And when you understand how we tick, you know, not just our bodies but our brains as well, it really gives you a great platform for understanding how to make yourself tick best." And so I'm really interested in that. I've been a researcher now and a university level educator for over 25 years. And I'm currently the course coordinator for postgraduate studies in lifestyle medicine at Avondale College. I've got several PhD students working under me, so I'm quite active in the research space. But my world over the past decade has increasingly focused on this thing called lifestyle medicine. And lifestyle medicine is a relatively new term, well, to the minds of and ears of many people, including many healthcare providers that I talk to and speak to. But essentially, lifestyle medicine, I believe, to be the new frontier of healthcare, because we live in a society where about 70% of people suffer from and actually die from chronic diseases. We're talking our heart disease and our diabetes and a range of other conditions like that. And what we know is that a large portion of those diseases are actually preventable. And not just preventable through healthy lifestyle choices, but even reversible in some instances. And we're starting to hear that language being used just last December in The Lancet, which is a top, probably the top medical journal, one of them. They spoke about, they actually published a study where looking at using intensive therapeutic lifestyle change, people with type 2 diabetes were able to reverse their condition. So it's a really exciting space. Look, I'm very much immersed in this lifestyle medicine world now. I'm a fellow of the Australasian Society of Lifestyle Medicine. I'm certified by the International Board of Lifestyle Medicine. And in fact, I was even honoured to be one of the 4 people who were asked to write the exam for international board certification of people who would like to gain that status in lifestyle medicine. So look, it's a really exciting space. In Australia, we have the Australasian Society of Lifestyle Medicine. There's the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. And over the past 2 years, there have been 15 associations, societies and colleges in lifestyle medicine set up all around the world. So yeah, I'm really immersed in that space, and it's just a great place to be, because it's really about helping people to achieve the very best outcomes. Lifestyle medicine is really about treating the cause. We know that at the moment, as I said, many of the conditions we suffer from are lifestyle related, and yet at the moment we put band-aids on them. Well, what lifestyle medicine about is going back and treating the cause. Okay, so that's a little bit about me and my background. What about this LIFT project? What is this about? Well, as Simon Sinek, who I love his work, he always says you've got to start with why. And so let me tell you what the why is behind the LIFT project. As I said, I've been very immersed in helping people manage and treat chronic conditions like type 2 diabetes and heart disease and even certain cancers with therapeutic lifestyle change. But what we're discovering in the lifestyle medicine space is that what's good for your body is also exceptionally good for your brain. And what we've started to discover is that when people, I suppose, adopt better lifestyle practices, they tend to feel a whole lot better. And for me, really, that's the end game. I'm really interested in helping people just to feel better, because when people feel better, I have this saying that how you feel affects whether you fly or fall. pretty much in every aspect of your life, in your relationships, in your work performance, in your health, certainly. We know there's a strong link between your emotional well-being and your health outcomes. And so I've really, for me, what I've really wanted to help people with, is to not suffer ill health, but ultimately I actually want people to be happier, for want of a better word. And so I've had this rising interest in this whole, what can we do, to actually help people? What are evidence-based, scientifically proven ways that we can help people to feel better? Because the reality is that many people are not feeling better today. They're not feeling great. In Australia, my home country, we have about 1 in 10 Australian adults taking antidepressants each day. And look, in some way, and that's doubled in the past decade, which is a good sign in some ways. It means that people are seeking help more for it, which is a positive. But what perplexes me is that in our healthcare system, we actually know that there are many positive things, lifestyle-based things, cognitive-based things that people can do to also help them feel better. And they're very, very powerful. They're evidence-based. There's a strong science behind them. And so I've had a growing interest in that. In addition to my lifestyle medicine world, which is noticing there are a whole lot of positive things we can do for people's brains, there's also been this other world emerging called positive psychology. And what positive psychology is not pop psychology. It's a scientific study of what does it take to help, scientifically, what does it take to help people flourish in life? And there have been a whole heap of that whole positive psychology movement is just booming as well over the past couple of decades. And there are a whole heap of really interesting learnings that are coming from that. And what is not happening is that no one's sort of pulling those worlds together. We have positive psychologists talking about these things we can do, and then my lifestyle medicine world are talking about it, but no one's combining it all into the one-stop shop, into the one space. And so that has been my dream to do that. And that is what has happened. So this is what the Lift Project's all about. It's essentially exploring scientifically proven ways to lift your mood and your life, from lifestyle medicine, from positive psychology. And because I have a physiology background, I tie in a little bit of neuroscience as well in sort of a fun, easy to understand way. Now, what I want to say, obviously this is not here to replace healthcare. And that's really important that I clarify that. But there is just some really positive things we can do. And so I developed, as I said, the Lift Project's really been evolving for over the past 15 years. About 2 years ago, I'd actually developed it and I had this program ready to go. And so I started testing it. We've now conducted a couple of studies on it. I've actually published at least 2 papers, one in the American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine, another in an education journal. And what we were seeing is just startling outcomes when people really engage with the program. Like, for example, on average, about 30% reductions in depressive symptoms, anxiety and stress, and about a 20% improvement in overall mental health. And so, I get pretty excited about that. And what I just felt is more people need to know about this. And so I've actually got this fire burning in my belly, really, that I just want to get this message out there. I just want to share these insights with people because I believe everyone, like literally everyone, I don't care who you are, young or old, male, female, people need to know this stuff. And so I'm actually on a mission, and it sounds like a crazy claim, but the goal is to lift 10 million lives, right? Because I can tell you the world needs a lift. And so what that looks like and how that comes to be is yet to be decided. But this is the start of it. And what I want to say is that you are actually part of it because we're actually going to officially launch it in June this year. But we wanted to just one more time, using the IT platform we've developed, roll it out with a more intimate group of people that I guided through and we interacted and sort of created this positive community with one more time before we actually launch it on the world. And so that's the why about the why of the Lift Project. So let me tell you a little bit about what it is. I've sort of alluded to it already, but essentially it's a 10-lesson program, as I said, that explores scientifically proven ways to lift your mood in your life. Now, what I believe is that for best outcomes, the best approach is to take the program over 10 weeks. So each week we have a new lesson, and I'll show you what the lessons look like in just a moment, where we really focus on one of those evidence-based strategies and we give it a week. And then it's really a self-experiment. So it's like, well, this is what we're going to learn. This should work. The science says it does. So let's test it and see. And so that's really the approach. When we launch it in June, it'll be on a learning management system, like an IT platform, where people will be able to just access and do the lessons at any pace they want. But what I want to do for this intimate group, this is the A team here, is to really just to guide through and go through that 10-week process. And so what's going to happen is over the next 10 weeks, and shortly after this Zoom session, once I've uploaded it and all the rest of it, I'll be sending out an email with the first lesson. I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a moment. And then early hours, Sunday morning, Sydney time, I'll be sending out the next lesson for each week. So I hope that gives you a bit of an idea as to what it's about. So I just want to show you what a lesson actually looks like. And I hope I think the designers have done a great job and it looks really attractive. So I'm about to share my screen with you now. I'll share screen and let's see if I can find, here we go. Is that? All right. Can someone just call out if they can actually see this, that your Limbo is listening? Can you see the screen?
I can't see the screen, no.
Okay. Let me just see. Can you still see me, can you?
Yes.
That's unfortunate. All right. So go to share screen. Oh, here we go. All right. Can you see it now?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so all right, so here we go. This is what each lesson looks like, and the lesson format is identical for all of them, and so you'll get the hang pretty quick of how to engage with the lesson. So let's have a look. So as soon as you open one lesson, this is lesson 1, your Limbo is listening. That means nothing to you at the moment, but it will very soon. What you'll see is this play button, and this in this first screen here is about a 1 to 2 minute video presentation where I essentially tell you this is the big idea for the lesson. Let's see if our bandwidth is good enough to actually, if you click on the play, and here we go. In this lesson, you are going to learn about your limbo, which is the nickname that I've given to the part of your brain responsible for how you feel. Okay, I'll stop there because I hate seeing myself on camera. And so you get the idea. So that first, the first thing that'll appear on the screen is a play button where you can just listen to the big idea and catch the essence of what this lesson is about. Once you've done that, if you scroll down, here is where we come to the business end of how the lesson unfolds. Now, as I said, I've been in education for probably 30 years now, and I have a great interest in how to help people learn best. And so this is my educational framework, if you like. It's summed up as learn, experience, think, and share. Or if you want to give that an abbreviation, an acronym, LETS, let's. Right, so what I've discovered I'm immersed in the behaviour change literature and what gets best outcomes in terms of helping people to make adaptations to their lifestyles. And what I'm learning is that people don't really like being told what to do. And so very much the approach of this, you'll find everything is pitched in the positive. You'll never hear me tell you that you're doing something wrong because most of us know what we're doing wrong already. But what I'm just going to be saying is in a positive way, and I really emphasize this, I want to create a positive place here, a positive community where we're really supporting and nurturing each other. But in a positive way, it's like, hey, this is what the science says. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's give it a try and see if it can work for you. And so as I said, each lesson will follow this pattern. Learn, experience, think, and share. Let me say a little bit more about that. You can come to each of these sections simply by scrolling down. So there's the learn section, there's the experience, there's the think, and there is the share. Now, if you want to be tricky and you want to jump straight to one section, if I click on think, it will take me straight there. But let's start at the start because that's always a great place to begin. So in the learn section, what you'll find is what we know are that people learn best in different ways. And so you have the option here. You can either watch, listen, if you're an auditory learner, or you can read if you're more of a visual. The watch is more of a kinesthetic experience. So if you click on the play button here, this will take you to a video presentation. Now, what I want to say about this video presentation, I've designed it to be memorable. And so some of the things I do in that, you'll go, really? What's that about? I've got a good friend in there, my one of my colleagues actually, Dr. Jason Hinds, and I play some tricks on him. I get him to dress up at times. But really the objective here is for people who engage in learning that way is to make it memorable. And so I apologise for some of our antics there. And anyway, you'll see what you think. Maybe that's not your best way that you prefer to learn. If you prefer to listen, and I know that many of you are time poor, so if you prefer to actually learn on the go, just click on the listen icon, and what that will take you to, and this is all mobile friendly by the way, is the audio version, the audio adaptation of it. And so you can listen to it in the car or while you go for a walk or whatever you need to do. Then for those who prefer to read, if you click on the read button there, what you'll find here, it'll actually have all of the text that you can read through. And in addition to that, I've actually got the hyperlinked all the studies that I refer to. Now, you don't have to look at those if you don't want, but for those who want to just check to make sure that I'm not making it up, then that's a great way to do that. So just for clarity, to recap, under the Learn section, you can choose watch it, listen to it, or read it. Or if you're really eager and you just love it so much, then you can do all three. What I've also got here, just below that, are some other fun resources that I've found really that relate to this lesson that are cool. So, for example, and some of like this one here is an interview I did with Dr. Trafford Fisher about the positivity ratio in relationships. And some of them are just fun, like Kid President. I don't know if you've seen Kid President before. He's just a legend. And one of his things, 20 things we should say more often. So that's the Learn section. I hope that's clear. You can watch, listen, or you can read. Then we move to the Experience section. Now, as I've written here, one of the best ways to learn is to do. And now what we know is that, for people to really benefit from something and for it to change them, they actually need to be challenged by it. They need to actually do it. And so in this second section here, this is once again a little video where I go out and about and I show you what it would look like to put the learnings from this lesson into practice. And so I actually offer you a small daily challenge and one sort of larger challenge for the week. You can listen to them and see how I go about doing it there, or you can actually read about it here. Now, the daily and the weekly challenge. Now, what I want to say is that it's challenge by choice, right? So I'm not mandating that you have to do this, and if you don't do it, then you're bad or anything like that. This is like, hey, you know what? Anything you can do, as I've written there, any positive steps you can take are steps in the right direction. But if you really want to challenge yourself, well, then obviously the more you put in, the more you'll get out of it. So that's the challenge, the experience section. Then what we know, and as I said, I've been in education for a long time, the best way to learn best, it's important to think about and reflect on what you have learned. So, there are some educational theorists who say that unless we sit back and actually think about what we're learning, the learning outcomes are very poor. And so, thinking about what's actually happened and what you've learned from it, what you've benefited from it, is really an important process. And so what I've got here is you can take a quiz, and it's not a hard quiz, but it's sort of fun. I hope even the prompts that I get you, if you don't get it quite right, I hope are amusing for you. But really, this is just a process to reflect and engage with the content, the things you've been learning. And if you like to journaling, some people like to do that. Once again, I get you just to think about, what's the big idea for this? Imagine you're in an elevator, you have 30 seconds to explain to someone the big idea for this session. What would you say? Or how did the challenges go? Did they give you a lift? Did they work for you? Now, some might not, and that's okay, but some might be really powerful for you. Well, take a note of that and then do more of what makes you happy. So that's what the think section is all about. And then last of all, what I want to say is that one thing I've learned in teaching is the best way to learn anything is to actually teach it. When we teach something, we become a custodian of it. It becomes part of who we are. And it actually helps us clarify the things that we're learning too. And so in the last section, I've got here 3 ways that you could actually share what you're learning. And here are the 3, right? Tell, talk, and tag. So, and once again, this is not for everyone, but we all learn and engage in different ways. So first of all, tell someone who's not doing the LIFT project something that you learnt this lesson that could give them a lift. Right? I have this great belief, and I probably shouldn't spoil the punchline here, but I will. What you'll notice is that many of these challenges that I give you each week actually involve helping someone else and giving them a lift. And I actually believe one of the very final sessions we look at is the notion of give back and contribution and service and the science just showing that when people have that kind of a bent, and others bent and others focused, then they're amongst the most happy people we come across. And so, I really would encourage you, how could you use the learnings from this to actually give someone a lift? It might be just something small, might be just some insightful thing. And, I suppose what I'm calling for in doing that is you guys helping me to get this, lift 10 million lives. So tell people about it. Tell people what you share and what you're learning about and what you're discovering. Then talk about it. And so we can actually talk amongst ourselves. And once again, I'd love to create a really, almost a learning community, but a positive one. And so we've got there's the Lift Project Facebook page, and that's a place that you could go if you're on Facebook just to share and things like this. Here are 2 things we can talk about. What did you learn in that lesson that's new and helpful to you? And then what are some of the highlights from the challenges that you've experienced that week? What I want to say, some of the challenges are incredibly powerful. They really, really are. And I'd love to hear about that. And not only that, just sort of encourage each other. And so obviously I can't respond to everyone if we all go nuts, and I'll do my best. But and this pre-launch program, I'm really going to be engaged a lot more than I will probably be able to as we launch it on a grander scale. But encourage each other. Everyone needs cheer squads, and so get involved in that. And then last of all, for those who are on Instagram, some of the challenges really lend themselves to a photo or a great quote that you found. And so if you find anything that relates to this lesson, then tag it and whack it on Facebook. And here are some of the hashtags that I'd love you to use in doing that. So let me just recap once again. Here is the format for each lesson. At the beginning is the big idea, just goes for a minute or 2. Then we have this framework that every lesson steps through. Learn, and you can choose how you'd like to do that. Watch, listen, or read. Then there are some challenges for you to experience it, those learnings, and then think about it, reflect on how it goes, and then share it. Now, what I will say is, as I've already told you, I'll be posting out, or I'll be emailing out the next lesson in the early hours of Sunday morning, Sydney time each week. What I would encourage you to do, because the experience, the challenges, I actually have sort of set a daily challenge, because of course you might not be able to get straight to the learn section. What you might consider doing is just when you get, perhaps on Sunday sometime, if you can make the time, watch that big idea. It's only a minute or 2, so at least you have an idea as to what this lesson's about. And then if you don't have time then to engage with the learn section, just jump straight to the experience so you know what the challenges are for that week. So you could actually get going with them if that's what you wanted to do. Now, if you, some of the challenges you might think, oh, why am I doing this? But as you learn the science here behind it in this learn section, that'll make more sense. But you can do that during the course of the week. All right, I am about to stop sharing my screen. Let me just come back to Zoom here. Hopefully. Oh, I'm not quite sure where it's gone. Oh, here we go. Stop share. Okay. Are we back online? Everyone see me again?
Yeah, all good.
Oh, good. That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me, Heather.
No, it's not.
So look, I hope that gives some clarity. I'm about to stop recording just a moment, and then we'll take some questions. But look, guys, I really want to say I really thank you for being a part of this. As I said, I've got this. I believe this. The science that you'll find in here, this is very much evidence-based. So I think some of the things, even the most enlightened people that have engaged with this in terms of, have a great breadth and understanding and depth of knowledge about well-being, have come away still going, there were things I didn't know. There were some things that were new to me. I honestly believe this is really quite an innovative approach in that I don't know of anything else there that draws all of these, the lifestyle medicine world, the positive psychology world, a bit of neuroscience, all into the one-stop shop. So I'm pretty excited about it. And I just want to welcome you guys and thank you so much for being part of it. What I will say is that I really welcome any constructive feedback. And if you've got some, then hey, email me and I'll put it in the mix, because this is there's always learnings that will be taking place. As I said, we've run this program numerous times now, and there have been great learnings that have taken place. And I just want this to get better and better, with the end goal to have a bigger and bigger impact on the world. So so welcome your constructive feedback. Email that to us. After this session, I'll be sending the first lesson out. And one thing that I will put in there as well is, and it's not compulsory at all, but if you wouldn't mind, I've got a questionnaire, which is sort of a bit of a wellbeing assessment that we like to collect pre and then at the end of the program as well. Just, it's confidential, it's anonymous, we don't share anyone's names or anything, but just for our purposes, for my purposes, and just doing analysis to find out, hey, what sort of changes are working and are people benefiting or not. So if you would be willing to do that, we'd welcome that as well. So let me just stop recording.